Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. We've now got pack 8 of the Agora Models release of Bismarck, the legendary battleship. Now you're going to absolutely love this pack. There's so much detail in it, guns in it, and in this pack we get to do the turbine room, which is the very last stage. If you want to get this for yourself, I've put the link down here to the Agora Models website. You can get that all the way from pack 1. Also, some of the new releases that are coming out from Agora Models, you've got the Jaguar E-Type, you've got the Routemaster coming, you've also got the Ladder 9 fire truck, New York fire truck, that's coming as well. And you can see all of that if you go over to the Agora Models website. But there is a lot to do, and I warn you, you're not going to be able to do this in one sitting. In fact, while I'm filming this, while I'm talking to you now, it's taken me almost a week, and I'm still to do the turbine room, which I'm going to do in a second. But this has all been over the place, so if you notice continuity errors, then I apologise, but I think I've done quite well with it. But I think you're in for a treat with this one. If you're building along, it's going to come along really good. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. So in stage 81, we've got a piece of hull here. Now this piece of hull we're not going to be doing anything with until later on. This is the one that's going to attach to the side of the hull. It's going to have magnets on so we can actually take this off and see an internal turbine room. But for now, keep that safe. What we do have in this stage though is some photo etch parts that I need to break off. Now these are going to make the walkways to the top of the hangars that we worked on in the last pack. So what I need to do first is bend the sides up. So when that's done, that should look just like that. We're going to repeat that with the other side. Now if we bring across the hangers that we've been working on last time, these are going to go along the roof sections just here. And they're going to look just like that. So I'll get some glue and get these in the 2 points here. And there you go. And all we're going to do is repeat that on the other side. Now we've got some other platforms to put on just to the edge of this section here. So I'm putting some glue just on these ends. 1, 2, 3, and then once again we've got kind of like a walkway. This one does have some holes which are going to go just like you see in the picture here, and that's perfect. That's the one in that side, and once again we do the same on the other one, and that's the second one done, and that's all there is to do in this stage. So in stage 82, we've got some main details for the hangars and the main deck. So the first thing I want to do is bring over the deck here, and I want to cut this detail from the sprue. Now if you have a look at the bottom of this detail, you've got a little tab. That's going to go into the tab that we can see just there between these ropes here. So I'll put some glue in there. And I'm also just going to put some glue just along the top edge of this detail here, and we'll put this into place. So there we go, that one's in. Now the second detail on the sprue here we're going to make up by putting a platform or a ledge on this, so it looks like that, and the ledge looks like that. That's just going to go into these 2 holes here. So once again, just some glue, 1, 2, and we'll get this in. Making sure that the textured side is facing upwards, like that. Bringing round our barbette again, we've got 1, 2, this is going to be going into those ports, and then once again, just on the top, I'll put some glue just in the centre there, and that will ensure that this fits perfectly where it's meant to go on here. We then want to cut the vent off, that's this detail here. That one's going to go into this point at the front here. So one at the bottom, and again just a tiny bit on the top. Make sure it's in straight. Excellent. There you go. Then we've got another vent which is going next to it here, and that looks just like this. Put that one in. Again, you want to make sure that they're straight and the back ends are attached to the barbette. And then the vast vent looks just like this, and that's just going to go next to the one we've put in. It is kind of hidden, buy one of the rope reels, but it's the same technique. Into the bottom, against the barbette, and make sure it's straight. So there we go. I'll show you on the top camera. That's what all of that looks like when it's in place. Now we're going to be making some breakwaters again, like we did way back in pack 1, I believe it was. So I need to get these off the sprue. And just like we did last time, we're going to be putting these tiny levers into their mounts. So I've changed my tweezers to real flat end ones to help me push these in. There we go. That's what they should look like when they're in. Do that 3 more times. And there you go. That's all 4 of those done. Put them to one side and bring over the deck again, because we're going to be putting some of these breakwaters into place. So the first one looks like this. I'm going to put some glue where it's going. Just going into these 3 holes here. 1, 2 and 3. And then this goes in like this. Excellent. The next one looks like this. We want this gap section here to be towards the turret here. So it's going to be going on like that. Once again, glue this into place. And then we just mirror that onto the other side here. All we have to do then is we've got 2 vacant holes either side here, which is going to house those levers that we just created. We'll put these in. That's 1 and 2. So that looks like that. We just do the same on the other side. And when they're both in, they should look like that. Now we've got lots of photo etch details that I'm going to need to break off and mould these into the shapes that you can see on the pictures on the screen here. So bringing over the hangers again, we're going to be putting this just into the side here. So once again, a little bit of glue just onto 3 points. 2 at the front, 1 and 2. 1 at the back. And we'll get this in. So that should look like that. Do exactly the same on the other hanger. Now we're going to be moulding these walkways so they look just like this, as you can see in the picture. You can do that twice. And then quite simply, these are just going to go onto the top of the hanger, just like in the pictures here. And there we go. When that's in, it should look like that. And once again, we do exactly the same on the other side. That's both of those in place. So I've bent the last of the photo etch parts exactly as they want them here. And the first thing I'm going to do is going to put this catwalk just along this edge here. So once again, more glue. And there we go, that one's that in. Now we're going to be gluing catwalk eye in place. Again, it's probably really much better if you look at the pictures. That'll give you an idea where that's going. We're then going to be gluing one of the ladders just to the outer wall here. Put some glue in there. Just like that. So bringing over the other hanger exactly the same way. We've got a walkway to put on. These are so fiddly, these sections here. I've put the other platform on like we did on the other side already, which means the last thing to do is just to put the ladders going down this side here. Which I've got here. And there we go. That's 2 finished, lots of detailed hangers ready to go on the superstructure deck. So I'll bring the superstructure deck over. This one is going to be going on this side here. Let's turn this round. It's just going to be going on like this, and the other one on the other side, and they're just held in by the 1-2 tabs at the bottom. So I'll put some glue, 1 in here and 1 in here, and I'll get this one first into place, just like that. Do the same on the other side. And that was quite involved, but it does look pretty amazing, and that's all there is to do in that stage. Now stage 83, quite an easy one. I'm just going to get this lined up. We're going to be attaching another keel section here, just to this section here. And all we have to do, first off, is take one of the adapters, put that over the top like that. We're going to secure that in with the 2x4mm screws. They do come in this one, so I'm going to put just 2 on this side for now. And then when we put the keel piece in, the whole sections here, which I believe are eventually going to hold the base of the ship in, are just going to go furthest away from that tab. So they're just going to go in, whoops, like that. And again, 2x4mm screws. And that is all there is to do in that stage. Now stage 84 is all about the electrics and the main circuit board, but I'm going to keep that to one side because we're going to rework some of the stands that we've been dealt with so we can actually hold the deck and the superstructure deck without it falling over. So what we're going to do is we're looking for the pieces that look like that, and we're going to take this off the stand here, put that next to another one of the stands that match that one, so they look like that. And then we're going to be taking the ones that look like this and we're going to put them in each side here. So one here and one here. Don't worry too much about this other ones at the moment. I'll keep them to one side. Put that to one side, and we need to bring over the superstructure deck that we've been working on. And what they want us to do, just to start off with, making sure we don't damage anything, is remove this motor. So I'm going to do that now. Keep the screws safe for this because we're going to be putting the motor back in a second, but what we are going to do is we're going to be joining this deck with the superstructure deck, so all the wires are on this side here. So for that reason we're going to be offering the deck up, making sure we put all the wires through. Now you've got wires coming out the back here and wires coming out the front. The ones coming out in the middle are going through that one. The ones coming out the back here are going to go through that slot at the back. So let's put all these in. I had already cable tied a lot of mine up so that it's making this job a whole lot easier. They're all in. Just get that in. It's normally these 15cm guns which are restricting things. But as you can see, that's fit absolutely perfectly on there. Now what we're going to need to do, so we don't break anything, we're going to need to put this on its side, and following the pictures, matter of fact, I'm going to try and hold it like this. Following the pictures, we're actually going to be putting the superstructure deck together. So we're going to be putting screws in the holes that you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Just seeing if there's any more. There's 2 at the back, 5, 6. There's 6 holes altogether. When you've got a coupling, to make things easier, you can now use that stand and put this in this way round. And that will hold that up for you. Now you need to keep pressure on this side though, because it's going to want to tip back otherwise. Now I am going to make a little bit of modification to the stand there. What I'm going to do, because I don't want it to fall backwards, so I'm going to put this piece here as well. And I'm going to put these into these holes here, and this will keep everything upright without me worrying about it falling over. So I put this back in, and there we go. That's standing up perfectly with no hope of it falling over. Now I'm going to change the camera angle so you can see what I'm doing. So looking really high up, the first thing it wants me to do is to put back in the motor that we just took out previously. Not quite sure why we had to take that out, I have to say, but it is what it is. And as you can see, that's the motor in. I'm going to move the camera down because we want to take the lead that's coming from the motor here and we want to feed that through this hole just there. Just like that. Now we want the cables which say B21 and B22. That's these cables which are coming from that turret there, and these are going to be threaded through the same holes. Now I am taking my time on this one because I know this can get a little bit confusing. Now if we go down a little bit further now, you can see we've got the same sort of slots here and here. We're going to be branching off the cables that we've got in each direction into these slots. So on the left side first, we're going to want cables 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So in my hand here, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Just tidying these up. They come all the way from these switches here, and most of them are through the middle section there, but they're all going to go through this hole just here. Now when we do that, we just want to keep this wire out the way of the switch there. So let's get all of these in. There you go. So that's all 7 of those cables through that slot just there. Now on the other side here, we're going to have the rest of them, which is 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21 and 22. So these two cables, which are 16 and 17, they won't go through. Pretty much every other cable is through here now on this side. So now we're going to be working on the slots that we can see just down the side here. So what we want to do first is find cable 19, and that one's going to go into the first slot that we can see up the top. I'm just going to move all the other wires out the way when I do this, and then pin that in like that. So that's cable 19 in. And then in the next slots, we've got 4 slots left. We're going to be putting cables 18, 17, 15 and 14. So that's all the ones on that side there. Now on the other side, we've got 3 slots. We're going to be putting cables 1, 3 and 4. Now the slot that runs along the bottom is going to have cables 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 in. And once again, we're just going to be pushing these in here. They go along this whole section here. Eventually, the control board's going to be fitting over the top of this. Excellent. Make sure those wires are flat in there, because as I said, the control board's going over the top. So that looks good. So this is the board here, and as you can see, they've got numbers on it. We want to make sure the numbers are down the bottom, the 5, 6, 7, 8. So when we mount this, this is going to go over the top of this, making sure we don't pinch any other leads there, and it's going to fit in just like that. We're going to hold that in with 4 of the PB screws. So when that's done, that should look just like that. Now the fun bit, all we're going to do is put all of these wires into their corresponding numbers along the control board. And there you go, just tidying some of these wires up, but there's basically a plug in every single port except for these 2 ports on top. They stay clear at the moment, but that very fiddly stage is all there is to do. So in stage 85, break from electrics now, we've got a little bit of the whole piece to put in, and we've also got some photo etch parts. So I'll put the photo etch parts to one side and bring over the ship again. And this is going to be going next to this section here. Now obviously this section here is going to be the detachable section that we had. This section here, we're going to be doing that at the end of the pack, but for now we're just going to be building alongside that as if it was there. So that's just going to go in like that, and it's held in with 3 of the silver 2x4mm screws. Here's the last one. There we go, that's in. So now I can put the ship to one side. Now in this stage, there is, as you can see here, quite a few photo etch parts. I've already bent them the way they meant to be just to save some time. Okay, so it's probably best to follow along with the pictures here, but the first detail we're going to be putting in is the ladder, which is going on here, and it has got a little tab on it. So there we go, that's the ladder in place. Then we're going to be putting a vent just onto the side of this section just here. In the same place, just above it, we've got another detail to put in. So check out the pictures, it's probably going to help you locate this one. That's going to go on top like this. Then on the front of this detail, we've got some ladders. Now these are the ladders with the tabs in the center. And it does bend a little bit with the bend of that detail there. Now on the next detail along, we've got some rails to put in for the platform we put in earlier. They look like this, just like that there. Keep turning it around, because on this detail here, we've got another vent to put on. Did I say vent? I meant grill. Perfect. To the side of that detail, so I'm moving things around here, we're going to be putting another ladder, and there's 2 little tiny slots on the side of this that the ladder will attach to, just in there. Perfect. this detail here. Again, put some glue into here. This is going to go in there. These photo etch parts, I'm telling you, they're a pain, but boy do they give some detail. Just like that. Now joining these sections up, we've got a walkway. Now the right hand side of this rests on a little ledge here, and the left hand side's got a tab which is just going to go through the detail that we had just put in. So I'll get this in and show you what this looks like. And there we go, that's that platform in. Excellent. Keep turning it around because we've got another platform to put in. Put some glue into that and on the ledge below, and that's that one in as well. And that, loads of detail just on that front section there. Let me just try and pan that round with my camera. There we go. Is all there is to do in that stage. Now in stage 86, we're going to start preparing some of these shafts that we're going to be putting around the 15cm gun, which does mean that we have to, if you look at that there, we have to put one of the photo etch parts against the plastic pieces, and we've got 10 of these to put in. Now the difficulty comes is that these are going to go into the recesses that we can see behind the hangers around these 15cm guns. So now we've got to install these, just turn this around, in there, which is going to be a little bit tricky. So look at the pictures, I'll get these in and show you what that looks like. And there you go, I've done one side there. I'm not going to lie to you, it's hard with the hanger and the 15cm gun here. In future I probably would have put them in before putting those in. Okay, let's do the other side. And that's the other side in also. We can put that to one side, because we're going to now be making the first anti-aircraft gun, and to do that we just need these two parts here. We're just going to be resting this into the little fulcrum in the middle there, so this is going to be able to go up and down, and then we're going to be pushing this section over the top. That's going to bite that into place. Oops, other way around, just like that, and that's going to be glued into place. So when it's in, as you can see, going to be able to move quite freely there. So I've got my glue, I'm just putting it around the inner recess here, and this side, and finally this side. Make sure this is sitting perfectly in there, and then put the top on. Hold that into place, and there we go, that's the first one completed. We do that again for the second one. Now if I bring over the superstructure deck, I'll show you where these go. We've got a hole just here for one to go in, and the second one, they just want us to put it behind it for now. It's just going to go into this point just here. Now they just fit in loosely at the moment. You will get a little tab to put on later on, which are going to fix them in a bit more permanently, but for now that just keeps them nice and safe. We're going to now work on putting the railings around these. So hopefully you can see this on the side camera. The first railing looks just like this, and that's going to go into the points that we've got 1, 2, 3, let's move out of the way, 4, you know what, I'm going to put that in afterwards. I think that'd probably be better. 5, 6, just seeing if that's all of them. One more. And there's one right at the back there. 7. The first 2 that I put glue in there, I didn't have to do that because another fence is going in there. Put these behind the shafts that we put in earlier. I'm using my tweezers to help me out, get these into all the holes, and we are good. That is one railing in place. Now we're going to be continuing the line of that railing around this section at the back here. So we've got one. I'm just going to take these AA guns out. 2, 3, 4 and 5. And there we go, that's the second one in place. So we've got a continuous railing going all the way around. We're going to repeat that on the other side. And there we go, that's them all done around the other side. A few more little bits to put in now. On the ends of both sides, we've got a little gap here, which I'll just put glue in. That's going to have the railing that looks like this. So that's just going to go in there. And remember, this is symmetrical, so anything we do on one side, we're going to do on the other. Then we've got some ladders to put in. Now the first ladder is going into the 2 holes that we can just see there. And there we go, that's that ladder in place there. Exactly the same on the other side. And then the last ladders, where we've got this railing here, it's just going to go down the side just here. And on the other side, we've actually got 2 ladders to put in. We've got one just here, and then we've got another one just further back here. So with those 2 ladders in place on that side, all I'm going to do is put these AA guns back in over here. One there. I think they go on this side. We're going to have 2 more to make in a second, so we're going to put them on the other side as well. One there, and that is all there is to do in that stage. Now in stage 87, we're doing some more heavy AA guns and we're doing some bridge wings. So just like we did last time, I'm going to cut off the guns from the sprues. We're going to be assembling these exactly the same way as last time. So just some glue around the interior ledge here. Put the gun in so that the flat side is up, and then hold it together with one of these here. Simples. That's another gun done. As you can see, it does go up and down, no problems at all. Now, like I said at the end of the last stage, these are just going to be fitted on the other side. So we've got AA guns on both sides symmetrically on the ship now. They're just going to sit in there. Once again, as I said, we will have some things to put on the bottom there, which are going to keep them in a little bit more permanently next time. But I'm sure you'll agree, look at that, that's looking really good at the moment. I can put that to one side for a second because we're now going to be doing the port navigation wing, which means we're going to break these off the stem here. And all we're going to do is take these 2 parts first, and these are going to be glued together like that. And this is going to be going into the holes that we can see just there, into the bottom hole, just there. So I'll put that in gently. As you can see, that's basically wanting to stay in on its own, but we need to reinforce that by putting the top section here over the top. So we want to put glue along this channel here, so when we pinch this together, this is all in place. So I'll put some glue down these channels here. You will notice that the larger end of the walkway here is pointing towards the center of the ship. I don't know if they are directional, but you'll see what I mean when I glue this on. This bulbous section here is pointing towards the walkway, so I'll put this in at the top, and then I glue both of these parts together like this. There we go, we've got a walkway all in place, and we're going to repeat that on the other side. Now on a photo etch part here, I've got the railings for that, so I'm just going to take these off, bend these around, so I'm using my flat nose pliers for that, and then I'll be gluing this into the walkway here. And there we go, that's the first railing in place, and we repeat that on the other side. And when they're both in, they should look just like that. Now we've got some more railing to actually bend round, so I'm going to do that now. So when they're bent, you've got 2 parts looking like that. These are going to go either side of the deck, just by these range finders here. So I'm going to put some glue just into the holes around here. And when that's in, that should look just like that, and we repeat that on the other side. So they're both in at the top. Now just underneath those you can see we've got a ledge here. We've actually got some pre-bent parts to put into that. Once again we're going to put these in exactly the same way. Now the last tiny bits of railing that we've got just going behind the rangefinder here into these two holes. So I'm doing the ones in the port side first. They look just like this. There are two that are similar, but you'll find that the spacing of the lugs at the bottom are different on them. So that's one in that side. And the one on the other side is just behind the rangefinder here. Just in front of the ladder. And with all of those railings in place, and there's a lot, that's all there is to do in that stage. Now in stage 88 here, as you can see, we've got another piece of hull to put in, and we've got some details here just to put onto the deck. So once again, as you can see, I brought the main hull over of the ship. This is just going to go underneath here, exactly like we did on the other side. There we go, and they're held in with 2 times 4mm screws, which are the silver ones. So there's 3 of these to put in. I've just put 2 in there, 1 at the side, and that is the other piece of hull in place. We can put this to one side. Now we have got lots of sprue details in the next stage, which I've already cut off. Now everything I do to one side of the deck here, you're just going to have to assume that I've done on the other, because it's exactly symmetrical. So bringing over the deck here, we're on the port side here. The first detail looks like a grill, as you can see in the pictures. And that's just going to go behind the breakwater here. So a bit of glue in there, and that's going to go there. Excellent. Now remember, I'll be doing this on both sides. Now further back in these 2 holes here, we've got a fairlead to put on, which looks like that. And then behind that, we've got 2 bollards in these larger holes here. So I'll get them in. And then I'm just going to turn this around just so you can see. I'm on the starboard side now, but it is mirrored. We've got 2 bollards at the back. And we've also got a space for another fairlead there. So I'll get that in, show you what that looks like. That's one bollard and another bollard, and then we're just going to repeat that on the other side. And there you go. I'll show you one side of the deck there. That's all done, and that's all there is to do in that stage. Now stage 89, nice simple one, this one. As you can see, we've just got a motor. And all we're going to do, we want to save these screws, because we're going to need them when we actually attach the motor. Take the lead off, put a sticker on one end. Now this sticker says C8. So I put this on one end here. And then the other end is just going to plug into the back of this motor. And then we're just going to keep that safe. Now you see I brought the ship back over because in stage 90 we've got another whole piece to put in. We've got some magnets because we're going to be attaching the detachable panel. Attaching the detachable, look at me. So this whole piece here is just going to go over the top like that. Once again, that's going to be held in with the 2 times 4mm screws. Going to take 2 of them. 1 and 2. We have got some spare, which we're going to need later. Now I've moved the hull away because the detachable panel is what we're going to be working on next. So what we're going to do first is we're going to be putting a little bit of glue just into these and attaching some magnets into place. Now the magnets we're putting in there are going to have a little S on them, and we need to make sure that that S is facing upwards. So I'm just going to drop some glue in here. I'm being putting a lot of glue in there, to be honest with you, because I don't want these magnets falling out. So here's the first one, which I'm just going to drop in like that. And here's the second one. Again, making sure that the S is facing upwards. We're then going to be holding that into place with the smaller of these magnet holders here. So that's 1 and 2. And we're going to secure these to either side of the magnet. So one this side and one this side. Now it does help that I put too much glue in there. It's going to hold them into place as well. But once again, we're going to be holding those in with the 2x4mm screws. Now we cut off the other magnet holders here. And we're going to be putting the magnets in there. This time the S is facing down, so we can't see that. And I'm going to put plenty of glue in here, not as much as last time, because these are actually going to fit into place a lot easier. So one in there, and we just repeat that on this one. So I brought the hole over, and these are just going to be clipped onto the edge, as you can see there, held in by 2.4mm screws. So I put one in. Let's just get this one in as well. Make that nice and tight. And then what that means is that the magnetic section now can actually attach to that. So when we put it on the bottom, it clips in, no problems at all. And that is all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 91, we're going to be doing the aft fire control post. So I'm going to get all of these parts out without losing anything. And the first thing we need is this housing here, because we're going to be putting some gears into there. Now the first gear we need is the one that looks just like this, and that's just going to drop into the larger hole here, just like in the picture. Now we have got a couple of shafts to put in here, so I'm going to be putting one of the shafts into that hole there, like that. Then I'm going to take the smaller of the cogs like this. That's going to go next to it, making sure that it's engaged with that one. And then once again, I'm going to be putting a shaft in there to keep that into place. It should drop all the way down there, so that now can't move. Then we're going to be putting the next cog in so that the cross is facing upwards. That's just going on the original shaft that we just put in. So that's in like that. All of those are turning, so all the gears are now in place. We're going to hold that in by putting this top section on. Had it round the wrong way there. There we go. That's going to keep everything together there. We're going to secure that with 2x5 PB screws. I've got them here. So one in this side and one in the other side. We're then going to take the motor from the last stage, which looks like this, and putting it so the wire's facing outwards. This is going to go into the top just like that there. It's going to be held in with the screws that we had from the last pack. So one in this side and one in the other side. We then got a base plate to put on. That's just going to go over the top of this section here. That's going to be held in with one of the shorter 1.7 by 4mm screws, which look like that. That's going to hold that in from the top there. We're then going to work on building the top section here. So the first thing I want to do is put some glue just down this center point here and cut off the area or the mast from this sprue. And we want to put this in so that this side is facing this side here. Make sure it's straight, which it is. We've got a couple of side parts to put on either side of that, so I'll cut these off. And they're going into these sections here, 1 and 2. Put one on so you can see how that's facing down. Same on the other side. Then we've got a couple of range finders to put on that. And they're going to be facing, put one in here. They're going to be facing this direction here. So one in that side. And in a similar fashion, one on the other side. We've got a couple of target indicators. These are tiny pieces, these ones. They're just going to go into these points where we put the motor, just at the front. 1 and 2. So they look like that. We're then going to be attaching the top of this to the top of that there. Now to do that, we just need to make sure that we've got some glue on the inside. Doesn't matter what direction this faces because obviously it's going to turn with the motor. But just holding that in place for a second, and there we go. That's now on there. Now I've had to break some photo etch parts off because we've got some that are going around the range finders here first. So then that looks like that. We've got some ladders to put on. The longer one is going on the mast here. So then that's the ladder on the mast. We've got a smaller ladder just going into these 4 holes at the front. And then we've got some photo etch details which we don't have to bend, they've already been done with us. So look at the pictures, you'll see me put these on. That's the first one on there. One that goes round the front. So that's on. And then finally we have just got the actual antenna which goes into the holes. I've already put glue in these just at the front here. And there you go. That is completed for this stage. Now the final stage, stage 92, pretty epic stage. So we're going to be doing the turbine room. Okay, stage 92, the turbine room. Now I'm going to build this, but I want to give you an idea of some of the things you can do to this to mod for yourself. Just to give it that extra zoomph. You haven't got to do this, but I will say this first. The following modification is undertaken at your own risk. Completion of said modification may irreversibly damage your component. If you're in any doubt, do not try this at home. By failing to do this modification correctly, you stand a good chance of destroying your model. Model companies are not obliged to replace your failed modification. Remember, I make mistakes, so you don't have to. So on last night's live stream, I did ask if you have modified your turbine room, send me some pictures so I can give some ideas to the viewers about what you can actually do with this. And these are the pictures that we've had submitted, and they are really good. It is inspiring, but I'm not going to get time to do this. So what I'm going to do is build it as stock, and then that will give you ideas if you want to mod this or not. But entirely up to you, but just remember, it's on your neck if you're doing that. But I thought I'd show you that because I do find that inspiring. It just adds that little bit of zoop to your model. Anyway, this is pack 92, the turbine room. Lots and lots of sprues in this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut all these details off this sprue here. So with that done, we've got these 2 parts here, and we're just going to be putting these together just like that. So we're going to put a little bit of glue just around the inside here. Now in the same way, we're going to be taking the 2 halves of the turbine, and as you can see, we've got some lugs here. Once again, I'm just going to glue the pins on this one and put these together. Now around this rim at the top of what we've created there, I'm going to put some glue. Just this rim here. And I'm going to fit the turbine head into that. As you can see, we have got a little notch in there, so it helps you line this up. So that's going to go in that way. And then quite simply, what we're going to do is for the base of this, just going to put some glue around this section here. And we're going to insert this into the part that we made just at the start here. So it's going to go in like this. Once you've got the pipe in, we're just going to put the little 2 tops in here, which are going to go into these holes. There's holes both sides. You want to put them in the holes where you've got a hole just on the turbine top. So I'll put these in and show you what that looks like. So when that's completed, it should look like that. We can put that to one side, leave that to dry for a second, because we're going to start building the floor here. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to put some glue just over these lugs here, and I'm going to put this top section with the holes here on top of that. So I'll just line this up, get this into place. Now you do want to push this down as hard as it will go. So as you can see, there's no gap in between those pillars there. Now on this sprue, we've got some tops to go into the holes where those pillars were. So I'll get these cut off and put some glue into these holes. So when they're in, they look like that. Now we're going to be putting all of these sections into the sections that we've got just here and sliding those in. Now I am going to glue just the tips of these to keep them in place, otherwise you'll find while you're building these, they're going to keep wanting to fall out. Now you'll notice that they do have a notch just down the bottom on one side. That's the side that's going to be going in first. So the way I do this is I'm going to drop some glue just at the front there. Not a lot. Don't have to do the whole thing. And then we'll slot the first one in. And push it all the way to the back. And there we go. And we just keep repeating that for all the rest of them. And when they're all in, they should look like that. Now in the holes at the top, we're going to extend out what we've got here, which are the stands to hold the turbines. They look just like this. They're all on the sprue there, so I'll get them cut off. Now the notched end here is going to be going towards this side of the turbine deck here. So they're going to go in just like this. So I'll put some glue in, put these all in here and show you what that looks like. So there you go, that's all of them in there and they're nice and straight. We're just going to push the turbine now onto the lugs which are on the deck here. So that's going to fit in like that. Looking pretty good, isn't it? We've got a platform to put around here. And that's what that looks like. So this is just going to go into the holes here. And also just the lug at the side there. We've got a smaller platform to put in, which is just on the sprue here. And there we go. That's that one in. Then we've got some photo etch parts that I'm going to be bending around. They look like this. So I'll take them off the plates here and I'll get them bent. So they're bent where they need to go. So the first one, the smallest railing here, is just going to go onto these two holes at this side of the turbine. Like that. The bigger one is going down the stairs. There's the second railing in. And then the last railing is just round the front here. So when they're in, that's all the railings done. We could put all of that to one side. Look, that's really come along well. Put that to one side. We're then just going to make the bulkheads here. So we need this part here and the part that's just left on the sprue here. Put some glue just into this channel here. And then with it this way round, we're just going to put that at an angle like that. We're then going to be taking off these brackets here, which are going to fit on the frame of that. So I'll just put some glue into these channels here. And we'll get these 4 in place. Now, taking this part looking like that with the notch towards the back, this is going to be going on this way here. So it's actually going to be tilted like that. So I'm going to glue this into place. We've got another part to put on this bulkhead assembly here. That looks just like this here. That's going to be going onto the points down the bottom there. So it's sort of going to sit on top there like that. Now it sits on top of those points there, just so you know. And there's also a notch for it to fit in on the roof there. Hold that in place, so it should look like that. Now on these sections here, we've got some more structure to put on. Once again, just drop some glue into these channels. And these have got a slant on them. So when you put them in, they will sit upright. There's a little notch on there which needs to face outwards. We're then going to attach the section we just made on top of this section just here. So I'm going to put some glue just in these holes here. You can see how in depth just this last stage is. But it certainly is impressive. And you can see, like what I said at the start, why people have modded this, because it's crying out for it because of the amount of detail in here. But that's looking pretty good at the moment, isn't it? We're then going to be putting a roof system over the top of this. That looks just like this. So once again, put some glue just into these ports here. And the 2 lugs here as well. I've actually put some glue just at these points as well. Just seeing where it's actually attaching to this. Now this is actually going to start making the room part of it. It's probably best actually to offer it upside down. So you can line that up good. But there you go, that's the roof in place. Now we're going to be putting the side bulkhead on, which looks like that. More glue. And again, this just goes on the notches here. So I get the top ones in first, then the bottom ones. So that's nice and flat. So we've got 2 sides done. We're going to do the other side now. Once again, glue on these lugs here. And this one's going in this way. So I get the top ones in first, all the way, then the bottom. And hold that together. So we have got kind of like a box shape now, which looks like that, which means all we've got to do now is just put the back on. Again, glue on all 4, or all of the points that this is going to be attaching that. Then we'll put this in place. Do the sides first and then work my way around. One side, that's the bottom. Other side, sides there, excellent. And that is the full turbine room in place. But that is the turbine room completed. Now we do have some parts left over. Let me just show you those. That's these. We don't actually use that in that stage, so we need to keep these safe. But I'm going to bring the ship over now and show you what this looks like inside. So I've taken the detachable panel off, and as you can see, we've got some sort of like metal lugs down the bottom. They're going to fit on top of these. So when we put this in, it's just going to press over the top of those lugs like this and push that all the way down. And then we could just put the side panel on just like this, and that clips in perfectly to hide that. Take it off, looks like that. Put it on, holds itself in perfectly. And that is all there is to do in that stage, and that's all there is to do in that pack. So there we go, pack 8 completed. A very enjoyable pack, but does take a long time. But the reason it took a long time was check out that detail of how much we've done so far, including the turbine room. I bet you're really impressed with that. Now, put it down gently. If you want to get this for yourself, once again, put the link down here to the Agora Models website. You can get this all the way from pack 1. But I really do hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.